The night on Mars Colony 9 was quiet and cold. The red dust outside moved slowly in the thin air, pushed by a weak wind. Inside a small metal home near the edge of the colony, a single light still burned. It belonged to John Carter, a tired human man who had seen too much war and too much loss. John was a single dad. He lived there with his little daughter, Lily. She was 6 years old, full of questions, full of laughter, and the only reason John kept going each day. The colony was small, built by miners and traders, far from the big cities of Mars. It was peaceful, or at least it used to be. That night, John was fixing a broken heater in the living room, while Lily was playing with her toy robot. She giggled when it fell over, its little metal arms waving in the air. John smiled tiredly. "Time for bed, Lily," he said. "You've got school in the morning." "But Daddy," she pouted, "I'm not sleepy." "You said that last night," he said, brushing dust from his hands. "And you fell asleep 5 minutes later." She laughed, but her laughter stopped when a strange sound echoed through the house. A knock. It wasn't loud, but it was clear. Knock. Knock. John froze. Nobody visited at that hour. Midnight was long past. The colony gates closed at 11. Visitors were not allowed after curfew. He turned toward the door, frowning. Maybe it was just the wind, or maybe something worse. "Stay here," he whispered to Lily. She nodded, hugging her robot tight. John walked to the door and looked through the small camera feed beside it. The screen flickered for a moment. Then it showed 2 small shapes standing outside in the red dust. "Children?" He blinked, adjusting the focus. 2 small figures stood side by side, their heads slightly tilted, their clothes strange and silver. They looked like children, but their skin was pale blue and their eyes glowed faintly like stars. John's heart began to beat faster. He pressed the intercom. "Who are you? What are you doing out here?" For a moment, no one spoke. Then a small, soft voice came through the speaker. "Please, help us." It was a child's voice, but not quite human. The tone was musical, like 2 notes playing together. John hesitated. Opening the door was dangerous. It could be a trap or a trick by smugglers. But he looked again at the screen. The small figures were shivering. One of them seemed to be crying. He sighed, unlocked the door, and opened it. A rush of cold air came in. Red dust blew across the floor. The 2 children stood there, blinking up at him. They looked no older than 8. Their skin shimmered softly under the porch light. Their eyes were bright silver and small marks glowed on their necks, marks shaped like stars. John spoke quietly. "You're not from here, are you?" They both shook their heads. Lily peeked out from behind her father, her eyes wide. "Daddy, they're pretty." One of the twins smiled weakly at her. "You're kind," the child said softly. "Most humans run away when they see us." John knelt down to their level. "Where are your parents?" he asked. The boy twin lowered his head. "Gone," he said. "They took them." "Who took them?" The girl twin looked up at the dark sky. "They're coming. They know we're here." Her words made John's skin crawl. He looked out into the distance. Nothing moved, but the air felt heavier now, colder. He led the twins inside and locked the door. Lily offered the twins her toy robot. "Do you want to play?" she asked kindly. They both smiled for a moment, but neither took it. They looked too tired, too afraid. John brought them blankets and warm tea, though he wasn't sure if they could drink it. They sat close together on the couch, their hands clasped. The girl twin finally whispered, "Thank you for letting us in." John nodded slowly. "You can stay here tonight, but tomorrow we'll need to talk to the colony officers." At that, the boy twin shook his head fast. "No," he said, his silver eyes wide. "You can't tell them. They'll find us." "Who will?" John asked. The boy's voice dropped to a whisper. "The ones who destroyed our world." The room went still. Even Lily stopped playing. Before John could speak, his scanner beeped sharply from the table. He walked over, checking the display. The screen flashed red. Unregistered life forms detected. Unknown DNA pattern. He looked back at the twins. They sat silently, their silver eyes glowing brighter. Outside, the wind grew louder, carrying a strange hum. A shadow moved past the window, tall, smooth, and mechanical. Lily gasped. "Daddy!" "Someone's out there." John turned off the lights and peeked through the window. In the distance, he saw 3 floating shapes, machines. Scanning the ground with red beams of light, he whispered, "Stay quiet." The twins held each other tight. Something big was happening, and John Carter didn't know yet that this single midnight knock would change the fate of the whole galaxy. The red morning sun rose slowly over Mars Colony 9, shining through thin metal blinds in John's small house. Dust floated in the light like glitter, quiet and still. But John didn't sleep that night. He sat at the kitchen table, staring at the two strange children who were now sitting across from him. They looked peaceful, almost normal in the morning light. But John knew better. No human child had glowing silver eyes or blue skin that shimmered like glass. They were sitting close to each other, silent, watching everything. The twins looked like they didn't trust the world anymore. Lily woke up and ran into the kitchen, still in her pajamas. "Daddy, are they still here?" she asked, rubbing her eyes. John nodded. "Yeah, they're still here." Lily smiled and waved at the twins. "Good morning," she said brightly. "Do you want pancakes?" The girl twin blinked. "Pancakes?" she asked softly. "It's food," Lily said. "It tastes happy." John smiled faintly at her choice of words. The twins watched her cook with quiet curiosity as she poured the batter and flipped the pancakes. When Lily put a plate in front of them, they only stared at it. The boy twin leaned forward. "We can't eat Earth food," he said gently. "It hurts our bodies," Lily frowned. "Oh, that's sad." "It's okay," the girl twin said, smiling a little. "You're kind." John watched them closely. He could see fear behind those smiles. Not fear of him, but of something else. Something far away, yet coming closer. He cleared his throat. "I need to know who you are," he said. "And what you're running from." The twins looked at each other. The boy nodded to the girl as if giving her permission. She spoke in a soft, trembling voice. "We are from a place called Liara. It was a small moon near the edge of the Orion Belt. It was peaceful once, until they came." "Who?" John asked. "The Dominion," she whispered. "They said they wanted to help us. They built cities, schools, and labs. But it was a lie. They wanted our minds." John felt a chill crawl down his spine. He had heard that name before, the Star Dominion. A cruel and powerful empire that had once tried to control the galaxy through science and fear. He thought they were gone. "What did they do to your people?" he asked quietly. The boy twin's eyes turned brighter, almost glowing white. "They turned us into experiments. We were part of a project to control time and space. We were made, not born." Lily gasped softly, clutching her robot. "You mean, like a machine?" The boy shook his head. "No, like a weapon." John's chest tightened. These were just children, scared and lost. And yet the most dangerous words in the galaxy had just left their mouths. Control time. Before he could say anything, the lights in the house flickered. The walls vibrated slightly as if something heavy moved outside. John grabbed his scanner and checked the readings. "They're back," he muttered. "The drones." The twins' eyes widened. Outside, the air filled with a strange metallic hum. Through the small window, John saw 3 black drones floating low, scanning the colony streets. Their red beams cut through the fog like knives. Lily looked frightened. "Daddy, what do they want?" John whispered. "They're searching for your friends here." The boy twin stood up suddenly. "We have to leave." "They'll find us. They always do." John shook his head. "You can't go out there. The colony security will see you. If the drones don't catch you, the guards will." The girl twin stepped forward, her voice shaking. "Please, John, you don't understand. If they capture us, they'll destroy everything. Not just us, everyone here." "Why?" John asked. "Because of what's inside us," she whispered. For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the hum of the drones outside. Then suddenly, one of the drones turned toward the house. A red beam flashed across the window. The scanner started to beep wildly. "They've found us," the boy shouted. John grabbed his blaster from the wall and motioned to Lily. "Hide in the storage room." "Now," Lily ran, clutching her robot. The twins moved close to John. The door shook as the first shot hit. A burning hole appeared near the frame. John fired back through the window, hitting one of the drones. It exploded in a burst of sparks. The other 2 retreated for a moment, then circled around the back. Smoke filled the small home. Alarms began to blare. John looked at the twins. "There's a tunnel under the old mining room. You can get out through there." "Go," the girl hesitated. "What about you?" "I'll catch up," he said. "Go." They ran toward the back, their glowing skin lighting the dark hallway. The hum outside grew louder. More drones were coming. John fired again, his heart pounding. He didn't know who these children really were, but he knew one thing for sure. Whatever secret they carried, the galaxy would never be the same after tonight. And as the house burned under the red Martian sky, two alien twins ran through the tunnels below, carrying a truth powerful enough to shatter worlds. The night sky above Mars Colony 9 glowed faint red, mixed with the pale light of the twin moons. Smoke still rose from the ruins of John Carter's small home. The colony's alarms had stopped, but the silence that followed was worse. It was the kind of silence that comes before something terrible. John, covered in dust and ash, climbed out of an old tunnel with the two alien twins behind him. They were shivering, their glowing skin now dim from exhaustion. Lily clung to his hand, her small face pale and scared. They reached the edge of the colony near the old radio tower. It was abandoned long ago, ever since the main network on Earth had cut off communication to the outer colonies. But John knew the old system sometimes still worked, if you knew how to wake them up. He looked around carefully. No drones, no soldiers, just the wind and the endless desert. Come on, he whispered. We'll be safe here for now. The twins followed silently. Inside the tower, the air smelled of rust and old circuits. Dust covered everything. John pushed open a panel and turned on a small power cell. The lights flickered and the ancient radio system hummed back to life. He sat down at the console, his hands moving fast. Static filled the room. Then slowly, a faint signal began to pulse across the screen. Rhythmic, repeating. John frowned. That's impossible, he muttered. Lily climbed onto his lap. What is it, Daddy? He stared at the pattern. It's a code. A distress call. But it's not human. The boy twin stepped forward. Can you play it? John pressed a key. The speakers came alive with strange sounds, not words, but pulses rising and falling like a heartbeat. The rhythm grew faster, then stopped suddenly. The girl twin's eyes widened. It's them. The Dominion. John turned. You're sure? She nodded. That's how they talk to their ships. They're close. John's stomach tightened. The Dominion. The name alone was enough to bring back memories he had buried for years, of war, laboratories, and fire raining down from the sky. He thought the Dominion had been destroyed long ago, but maybe they had only gone quiet. The twins looked terrified. The boy's voice trembled. We didn't mean to bring them here. We were running, but they never stopped. John looked at them carefully. Tell me what they want. Why chase you halfway across the stars? The girl twin hesitated. Because of what we carry. John's voice softened. What's that? She held up a small glowing crystal, the same one Lily had seen in their bag before. Now it shone with a strange light, blue and gold at the same time, pulsing with every beat of her heart. Lily gasped. It's so pretty. John reached out but stopped his hand just short of touching it. What is it? The boy twin answered, his tone dark. It's called the Heart of Kronos. John's eyes widened. He had heard that name before, whispered in old war reports hidden in secret files. The Heart of Kronos was said to be a device that could control time itself, but no one believed it was real. The boy continued. It was made from the core of dying stars. It bends time, makes the past and future touch. The Dominion wanted to use it to rebuild their empire. John felt a chill. And you stole it? The girl nodded. We had no choice. They would have destroyed every world that refused to serve them. We escaped with the heart, but they can track it. John stood up, pacing. Then we're not safe here. The signal, it's a locator beacon. They're calling their ships. Outside, the sky began to change. Through the cracked window, John saw lights moving far above the atmosphere. At first, they looked like stars, but they were moving too fast, too straight. Then came the low rumble of engines, deep and slow, rolling through the sky like thunder. The boy twin whispered, They found us. John switched off the radio and grabbed his gear. We need to move now. Lily looked up at him with wide eyes. Where will we go? He looked toward the horizon. North. There's an old military outpost in the cliffs. We can hide there. The twins stood close together, holding the glowing crystal between them. If they take the heart, the girl said, time will break. The galaxy will fall into silence forever. John put a hand on her shoulder. Then we'll make sure they don't. As they stepped outside, the desert wind hit their faces. The lights in the sky grew brighter. Dozens of small ships breaking through the thin Martian clouds. Red beams swept across the ground, searching. John tightened his grip on Lily's hand and looked at the twins. Stay close. Don't stop. They began to run across the open desert, the sound of engines growing louder behind them. Above, the sky flickered, a giant shadow covering the moons. The Dominion was here, and somewhere deep inside John's mind, a memory long forgotten began to stir, and a face, a lab, and his own voice saying, "The heart of Kronos is ready, sir." The cold wind of the Martian desert cut through the night like knives. John Carter led the small group across the dunes, the red dust swirling around their feet. The two alien twins walked close together, their glowing skin faint beneath the dark sky. Lily held her father's hand tightly, her little face pale but brave. They had been walking for hours, guided only by John's old wrist compass and the faint blue light of the twins' crystal, the heart of Kronos. Behind them, far in the distance, a dull orange light marked what was left of Mars Colony 9. John didn't look back. When they finally reached the edge of a rocky canyon, John stopped. "We'll rest here," he said, his voice low. "There's an old outpost inside these cliffs. We can hide for a while." The boy twin looked at the sky nervously. "They'll keep searching. They don't stop." "I know," John said, "but I need answers before we go any farther." The twins exchanged a worried glance. The girl twin's eyes shimmered faintly. "You won't believe us," she said. John sat down on a rock, his blaster resting beside him. "Try me." For a few moments, no one spoke. The desert was silent except for the faint hum of the crystal in the girl's hands. Then the boy twin finally began to speak. "We were created in the Dominion's Genesis labs," he said softly. "Not born like you or your daughter. We were made, grown from human and alien DNA mixed together." Lily's eyes widened. "Made like a robot?" The girl smiled weakly. "Not like that. We are alive, but our memories were programmed. Our minds are different." John frowned. "Different how?" The boy answered. "We can see time. Not like a picture or a story, oh now we feel it. Every second, every path. That's what the Dominion wanted. They wanted to use us to rewrite history." John stared at them, trying to understand. "Rewrite history?" "Yes," said the girl. "They wanted to erase their losses in the war, to bring back their empire by changing the past." John shook his head slowly. "That's not possible." The boy looked straight at him. "It is. You helped make it possible." The words hit John like a punch. He stared at them, stunned. "What did you say?" The girl twin took a slow breath. "We know who you are, John Carter. You were one of the lead scientists in the Kronos project. You built the first-time core, the machine that powers the heart." John's heart began to pound. "That's not true," he said quickly. "I worked in defense research, not for the Dominion. I left before the war." The boy shook his head. "You didn't leave. You were erased. They wiped your memories when you tried to destroy the project." Lily looked up at her father. "Daddy?" she whispered. "What are they saying?" John ran a hand through his hair, his mind spinning. He remembered flashes, faces in white suits, machines glowing blue, voices shouting, "Activate Kronos." And then, nothing. He had always told himself those were dreams. The girl stepped closer, her silver eyes sad. "You made us, John. You gave us your DNA and your mind patterns. That's why we came to you. We knew you'd help." He stood up, shaken. "No, I couldn't have. I would never." But deep inside, a memory whispered otherwise. He remembered standing in a bright lab. A man beside him said, "If this works, we'll be gods." And John had answered, "No. We'll be monsters." The memory faded. He looked at the twins again, their faces calm, trusting, afraid. Lily stepped closer to them. "If Daddy made you, that means you're like family," she said softly. The twins smiled faintly. "Maybe that's true," the girl said. "But family or not, the Dominion will destroy us all if they find us." John looked toward the sky. Red lights were moving again, search ships sweeping across the horizon. "They're here," he said grimly. "We move now." They hurried toward the cliffs. Inside the canyon walls, John found a metal door half buried in dust. It opened with a hiss. The outpost was dark and cold but safe for the moment. As they entered, the crystal in the girl's hand began to glow brighter, reacting to something. The boy frowned. "It's calling. Something nearby is waking up." John turned toward an old control room. The walls were covered in strange markings, Dominion code. He brushed the dust away and saw his own name engraved on a metal plate. Dr. John Carter, Project Kronos. His knees felt weak. "This was my lab," he whispered. The twins looked around in awe. "Then this is where it all began," the girl said. The hum of the heart grew louder. The lights in the base flickered on by themselves, and far above the canyon a voice echoed through the comms. Deep, cold, and mechanical. Subject Carter detected. Kronos core locked. Prepare for retrieval. The Dominion had found them. John clenched his fists, eyes blazing. "Not this time," he muttered. "Not again." The past he had forgotten was coming back, and this time it was coming with fire. Red lights flashed through the old outpost as the Dominion voice echoed again. Subject Carter detected. Retrieval units inbound. John Carter felt his chest tighten. The sound of heavy engines rumbled in the distance. Dust fell from the ceiling with each vibration. Lily grabbed his arm. "Daddy, what's happening?" John pulled her close. "We're leaving now." The alien twins stood near the glowing console. The heart of Kronos pulsed in their hands, beating faster like it could sense danger. The boy twin's voice was quiet but steady. "They found the signal. The heart called them here." John turned sharply. "Can you stop it?" The girl twin shook her head. "Not anymore. It's alive now." The floor trembled again. Outside, through the cracks of the canyon walls, a bright light grew stronger. The Dominion dropships. The air filled with the sharp metallic sound of engines cutting through dust and wind. John grabbed his blaster and pointed toward the back tunnel. "There's another exit, move!" The boy twin nodded, taking Lily's hand. Together, they ran through the narrow corridors of the old lab. The lights flickered, old machines buzzing back to life. Some screens still showed codes from decades ago. Blueprints of the Kronos project, his name stamped on every page. John didn't stop to look. The sound of metal footsteps echoed behind them. Dominion seekers, tall, thin machines with glowing red eyes, were already inside. "Go," John shouted. He turned and fired. The first shot hit one of the seekers, blasting through its chest. Sparks flew. Two more appeared, moving fast. The boy twin stopped and raised his hand. Time seemed to twist. The air around the robots shimmered, and then froze. The seekers stopped mid-step, locked like statues. John stared. "You can do that?" The boy's nose bled slightly. "Only for a moment," he said weakly. "Then make it count." They ran. The tunnel led to a large storage hangar covered in dust and old crates. Broken vehicles lay scattered like bones. A faint light shone from above, the exit hatch leading to the open desert. John climbed the ladder first, helping Lily and the twins up. The night air hit their faces, cold and sharp. The canyon below glowed red as the Dominion ships landed. One of the twins pointed. "Over there, an old rover." It was half buried in sand, but John sprinted toward it. He yanked open the door, coughing as dust filled the air. The controls were old but familiar. "Everyone inside," he shouted. They piled in. John hit the ignition, nothing. He slammed his hand on the dashboard. Come on. The girl twin touched the console. Her fingers glowed faintly. The rover hummed and came alive, lights flickering across the control board. John looked at her in shock. "You just connected," she said simply. "Hurry." The engines roared to life. The rover shot forward, wheels throwing red dust behind it. From above, bright searchlights cut through the night, chasing them. The Dominion ships opened fire. Explosions tore through the sand around them. Lily screamed, holding on to her seat. John swerved hard, barely avoiding a blast that lit up the entire horizon. "We can't outrun them," the boy twin shouted. The girl's eyes glowed brighter. "Then we'll have to stop time." "No," John said quickly. "You'll burn yourselves out." The twins looked at each other. "We don't have a choice." The heart of Kronos in their hands began to glow, brighter and brighter until it filled the cabin with white light. The air shimmered. The world slowed. The explosions outside froze in midair. The ship stopped moving. Beams of light suspended like threads in space. Even the dust seemed to hang still. John looked around in disbelief. It's all stopped." The girl twin's voice was faint. Only for a few seconds, John hit the accelerator. The rover sped through the frozen storm, passing under a hovering ship like a shadow. The light dimmed behind them. Then time snapped back. The sky roared to life again. The explosion they had escaped from burst in the distance, shaking the ground. The twins slumped in their seats, pale and weak. John slowed down, glancing back at them. You two okay? The boy twin nodded weakly. We'll recover. But the heart... It's waking up. Lily looked at the glowing crystal in the girl's hands. Is it alive? She asked softly. The girl's voice trembled. It's more than alive. It remembers everything. John frowned. What do you mean? It remembers who created it, she said. And it's calling for its master. John's stomach turned cold. The Dominion? She shook her head. No. You? John's hands tightened on the wheel. Me? The boy nodded slowly. The heart was linked to your mind when it was built. It's still connected. That's how they found us. Through you. John's heart pounded. Memories flickered again. The lab, the crystal glowing for the first time, and his own voice saying, it responds to human thought. He whispered, then maybe I can stop it. The rover sped across the desert, leaving the burning colony behind. In the sky above, a massive shadow spread across the stars, the Dominion mothership descending slowly. Its lights were like eyes staring down at them. Lily looked up, her voice barely a whisper. Daddy, are we gonna die? John squeezed her hand gently. Not tonight. He glanced back at the twins. We're going to end this, together. And as the first rays of dawn touched the Martian sand, John Carter, the twins, and his daughter drove into the endless desert, with the heart of Kronos pulsing brighter than ever. Somewhere in its light, a voice whispered, Welcome back, Creator. The Martian sun rose like a red wound on the horizon. The air shimmered with dust and heat as John Carter's rover sped across the open desert. Behind them, the Dominion ships were gone for now, silent shadows in the sky. But John knew that silence never meant safety. Inside the rover, the air was heavy. Lily slept in the back seat, her small hand wrapped around her robot toy. The alien twins sat across from John, their eyes dim, their breathing slow. Between them, the heart of Kronos pulsed softly, glowing like a heartbeat that wasn't theirs. John kept his eyes on the endless sand ahead. His voice broke the quiet. You said the heart remembers me. What does that mean? The boy twin looked up slowly. It means you built more than a weapon. You built a memory. The heart carries your thoughts, your dreams, your regrets. John frowned. That's not possible. The girl twin touched the crystal. It is. You created it to respond to emotion, not command. It feels what you feel. That's how it controls time. Through human thought. John's grip tightened on the wheel. Why would I ever do that? The boy hesitated. You didn't do it for war. You did it for her. John looked confused. For who? The girl twin met his eyes. For your wife. The rover went silent. John's throat went dry. What are you talking about? The girl spoke softly. Before the war, before you erased your past, you were a scientist working for the Dominion. They promised you a way to bring her back. Memories flashed through John's mind. A woman's laughter, her hand in his. The smell of spring rain on Earth before the colonies. He had lost her in an explosion during the first wave of the Dominion's invasion. For years he had tried to forget. The boy twin continued. You joined the project to bend time, not to change history for power, but to save one person. You believed if you could slow time, you could stop death itself. John's voice trembled. And I failed, the girl shook her head. No, you succeeded. He turned toward her sharply. What? You created the heart of Kronos, she said. It worked. You slowed time around her body when she never died. But the Dominion found out. They took the heart and her. They used her to power their machines. John's vision blurred. No, the boy added. They kept her alive to keep the heart stable. You destroyed the project when you learned the truth. You wiped your memories so they couldn't find her through you. John slammed his fist against the dashboard. And now they have her again. The heart of Kronos pulsed faster, glowing brighter, as if it could hear every word. The light filled the cabin, humming louder and louder. The girl twin whispered, It's reacting to your anger. You're still linked to it. The more you feel, the stronger it becomes. John tried to calm himself, breathing slowly, but the light only grew. Lily stirred in the back seat, blinking sleepily. Daddy, it's too bright. John turned. Close your eyes, sweetheart. The heart flashed once, and then suddenly the world changed. The desert vanished. They were standing inside a massive white room filled with light. Machines floated in the air, humming softly. At the center stood a tall figure, human, frozen in time, eyes closed. John recognized her instantly. His wife. He took a step forward, his voice breaking. Maria. But the twins held him back. It's not real, the boy said. This is a memory, the heart's memory. The voice of the Dominion echoed around them, cold and endless. Welcome back, Dr. Carter, your creation awaits. The room flickered. The walls cracked like glass. John dropped to his knees. What do they want from me? The girl twin answered. They want you to finish what you started. The heart is unstable. It needs you to guide it and to open the Chronos gate again. John looked up at the glowing crystal in her hand. And if I do? The boy's face turned pale. Time will shatter. Every world, every life, frozen forever. The Dominion will rule what's left. The world around them began to collapse, the illusion breaking apart. John reached for Maria, but she faded into light. Please, he whispered, don't go. Her voice came softly from nowhere and everywhere. You can still fix it, John, set us free. And then everything went dark. John gasped as he found himself back inside the rover. The twins looked shaken. Lily was crying softly. The heart was dim now, almost still. The girl twin spoke in a low voice. That wasn't just a vision. It was a message. Your wife's consciousness is inside the heart. She's alive, trapped in the Dominion's network. John's hands trembled. His voice was a whisper. Then I'm getting her back. The boy looked at him sadly. To do that, you'll have to destroy the heart. John stared at the glowing crystal, the last piece of his past. The bridge between love and destruction. I made this mistake once, he said quietly. I won't let it happen again. Outside, thunder rolled across the Martian sky. A shadow passed over the sun, the Dominion mothership descending, its lights burning red. John looked at the twins, his eyes fierce. Tell me how to end it. The girl twin took a deep breath. You can't just destroy the heart, you must go inside it. John nodded slowly. Then that's exactly what I'll do. And as the mothership's engines roared above, the heart of Chronos began to open like a blooming flower, time itself calling its creator home. The sky above Mars turned dark as the Dominion mothership descended. Its shadow swallowed the desert. The air crackled with static, and the ground trembled like the planet itself was afraid. John Carter stood beside the rover, the heart of Chronos glowing in his hands like a living star. The alien twins stood on either side of him, their eyes bright but tired. Lily clung to his leg, her voice trembling. Daddy, I'm scared. John knelt and held her close. I know, sweetheart. But you're brave, braver than anyone I've ever known. Above them, the mothership's engines roared like thunder. From its belly, metal dropships fell toward the desert, each one carrying Dominion seekers and battle drones. They looked like a rain of fire. The boy twin's voice was steady, though his face was pale. They're coming for the heart. If they take it, they'll use it to freeze time across every system. John nodded slowly. Then we make sure they don't. The girl twin looked at him. You can't fight them all. John's eyes were hard. I'm not planning to fight them all. Just long enough to finish what I started. He looked down at the glowing crystal. The heart pulsed faster, as if it could hear him. The girl twin placed her small hand on his arm. If you go inside it, there's no coming back. John gave a faint smile. I already left once. Maybe it's time I come home. The twins exchanged a glance. Then they both nodded. We'll help you open the gate. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Daddy, don't leave me. John kissed her forehead gently. I'll always be with you, Lily. No matter what happens, look at the stars. That's where I'll be. He handed her the little robot toy, the one she had played with every night. Take care of him for me, okay? She hugged it tight. Promise you'll come back. John didn't answer. He just smiled, the kind of smile that breaks your heart because you know it's goodbye. The twins raised the heart of Chronos high. Its light spread across the desert like a sunrise. The air rippled and time itself seemed to slow. Every sound stretched. The roar of the ships, the hum of the engines, even the beating of John's heart. The crystal opened like a flower of light. Inside it was a swirling storm, fragments of memories, voices, and stars. Step through, the girl whispered. It's waiting for you. John took one last look at Lily, then he turned and walked into the light. He found himself standing in a place beyond space, a white void filled with fragments of time. Around him, he saw memories frozen in air, his wife smiling. The day he built the first heart, the war that followed, and then he saw her, Maria. She stood at the center, glowing faintly, her face calm and kind. "John," she said softly, "you came back." He ran to her, reaching out, but his hand passed through her like mist. "You're inside the heart," she nodded. "The Dominion trapped my consciousness here to keep the heart stable. But you can end it. You can free us all," John's voice broke. "How?" "By letting go," she said gently. "Destroy the link between you and the heart. End the chain." He looked around. The storm of time grew stronger. Images of every world, every life caught in the Dominion's web. He could feel the power, enough to bend history, enough to bring her back. But he remembered Lily. He remembered the twins. He remembered the galaxy still fighting to live. John took a deep breath. "I love you, Maria." She smiled, tears in her glowing eyes. "Then save them, John. That's how you save me." He closed his eyes, placed his hand on the heart's core, and let go. Light exploded. The storm collapsed into silence. On the surface of Mars, the mothership froze midair, its red lights flickering. The Dominion drone stopped moving. Then, one by one, they fell from the sky like broken stars. The twins shielded Lily as the heart cracked open, releasing a brilliant wave of light that swept across the desert. When it faded, John Carter was gone. The girl twin looked at the sky, her voice trembling. He did it. He set time free. Lily stared at the empty spot where her father had stood. "Will he ever come back?" The boy twin smiled gently. "In every second, in every heartbeat, he's still here." The three of them stood together as the first real dawn in years broke over Mars. The sky turned gold. The heart of Kronos lay shattered in the sand, its glow fading, but peaceful. Lily held her robot close and whispered to the wind, "Goodbye, Daddy." The twins turned toward her, their silver eyes calm. "Come with us," the girl said softly. "We'll take care of you." Lily nodded. "Okay." As they walked toward the rising sun far above them, the stars shimmered faintly, and among them, a new one flickered to life. A quiet voice echoed through the wind, soft and full of peace. "Time isn't what we lose, it's what we leave behind."